on top of him, and he shoots them all one at a time, and then the last one, he goes through like two of the walkers' mouths and go, that was a great scene. Anyway, but that's what it reminded me of. So they're having this form, and Rick's supposed to be there. He's supposed to be present to defend himself and hear the people out. He gets there, and he brings a corpse of one of the walkers back with him. And he's like, I am not sorry for what I said, and I'm not sorry for what I did, but you needed to hear it, and you needed to see it. This is the way the world is, and things have to change. It's like, we want to stay, my people, my family and I, we want to stay, but things need to change around here. You people, the people of Alexandria, you need to change the way you're living your lives because it's not working. You don't know how bad it is out there, how horrible it is. You know, the kind of monsters people have turned into and what they're capable of. You have no idea, and you need to be ready. Unfortunately, a drunken Pete comes along, the guy that Rick beat and pummeled quite a bit in the last episode, the abusive drunk surgeon, Jesse's husband. You know, he shows up, and he's got Michonne's sword, which means he broke into Michonne's house, got off the wall, and he's waving it around, and people are starting to panic. And before anybody can stop Pete, or before Rick can attempt to calm him down, Pete's drunkenly waving the sword around, and Reg, Deanna's husband, is trying to calm him down and trying to tell him to put the sword down and, you know, just calm down overall. And Pete is just in a drunken stupor. He's like, oh, waving the sword around. Bad idea. And, of course, he slits Reg's throat. Completely by accident. It's unintentional. He's just in a drunken state. He doesn't know what he's doing. Slits poor Reg's throat, and poor Reg, because he was a good guy, and he hadn't even had a chance to speak at the forum yet, because he was actually going to defend Rick and his people and encourage the people of Alexandria to not exile Rick and let the group stay. And now, of course, he's got his throat slashed, and poor Deanna, she looks so heartbroken. She's like, no, no, no. She's holding him. Fortunately, right after the throat slash, Abraham charges Pete, knocks a sword out of his hands, and pins him to the ground. Not in a chokehold, but he's like holding both arms behind his back, you know, so he can't move. And this whole time, Pete is like completely unaware he's even done anything or killed Reg, because he's still like in his drunken state. You did this, you changed things when you came here. And of course, he's referring to Rick, talking about how, you know, Rick ruined his perfect little world because he was beating his wife on the side while posing as this nice charismatic surgeon, but he was really a drunken asshole the whole time. And he's blaming Rick for his world falling apart. And so, of course, you know, Reg is bleeding out. There's nothing they can do. He's just slowly gagging to death, and he's continuing to bleed. He's like, oh, oh, oh. And Deanna's like, Rick, do it. Now, when she said that, it meant one of two things. One, it meant pull out your gun, shoot my husband Reg, and put him out of his misery so he doesn't return as a walker. Or, number two, the most likely scenario, put down Pete, because there's no coming back from killing somebody in Alexandria. I mean, that's one thing to hit and beat your wife, but it's one thing to kill somebody intentionally or unintentionally. And Rick puts a bullet in Pete's brain. And around that time, Daryl, Aaron, and Morgan have made it to Alexandria. They're actually at the forum, and we hear Morgan's voice saying, Rick? And then Rick looks up. He's like, oh, and his eyes are like, oh my God, it's you. And what I love about that end scene is that it turns the mirror on Rick and Morgan, because the last time those two had met, going way back to season 3, Rick was the clean-looking, sane one, and Morgan was the batshit crazy one who looked like a raving lunatic. And now the tables have turned. Morgan is a lot cleaner, looks more organized, and he doesn't look or sound as crazy as before. And Rick is covered in blood from fighting walkers all night and, shooting Pete in the head, and he's panting heavily. Now he looks like the insane one. So I loved how they turned it around on those two characters, like compared to the last time they saw and talked to each other, and then, you know, jumping a couple seasons ahead of how, you know, they finally have reunited after this whole time. And that's the Alexandria bit of the episode. And then we see Glenn follow Nicholas, who has hopped the wall, and he's running into the woods for some reason. Most likely, yeah, to get the gun that he buried so he can defend himself, protect himself from Glenn, because he's probably got in his mind that Glenn is going to kill him. And the moment that made me think, ooh, that's going to make a lot of fans scream, is when Glenn gets shot in the shoulder. And they make it so obvious it's a non-fatal shoulder shot. But still, when he goes flying backwards, I'm like, ooh, well, that just gave all the Glenn fans a heart attack. But Nick shoots at him. Fortunately, not a very good shot. And then they scuffle for a while. Glenn tracks him down, and he just wails on him. And he's still blaming him for Noah's death. And Nicholas fights back, but Glenn just gets the upper hand and just pounds on him, and finally pulls his gun on him, presses it into his forehead. And you can tell that he's thinking about it. He's seriously thinking about putting Nicholas down. But Nicholas starts crying and bubbling like a baby. He's like, I don't belong out here. I don't belong out here. I can't take care of myself. I'm weak. And obviously you can tell that, Nick feels bad about what he did regarding Noah's death and how he was directly responsible for it. And then Glenn, of course, and I knew he wasn't going to do it because Glenn's not that kind of person. If he had to defend himself from somebody really, really nasty, yes, I believe he could put them down if he wanted to. But to kill someone out of cold blood in a state of rage and hatred, no, he'd have to be pushed really, really, really far to do that. So, and I'm like, well, I don't think he's going to do it. And I'm glad he didn't because, he panted and then he started crying as well because obviously he's still in pain from losing Noah. In fact, we all still are, let's face it, because Noah was a cool guy and it was just brutal watching him get ripped apart. But, so, and then, those two, I'm not going to say they work it out, but, the last shot we see them together is Glenn is, supporting Nicholas on his shoulder and they're shambling back to Alexandria. So Daryl, Aaron, and Morgan make it back to Alexandria in one piece, but from the footage of the last few scenes in the episode, it looks like Aaron must have dropped his bag or the photos of Alexandria because one of the creepy wolf guys was looking at the photos, and there was a photo of Rick and Carl there, and his partner was there with him as well, and they were resetting their walker traps with the food trucks. And I'm thinking to myself, these two guys could not have done this all by themselves. They've got to be the scouts or the sentries for the rest of their gang or army. There's got to be a hell of a lot more wolf members. So these two just must be scouts or something. But now, unfortunately, they know about Alexandria. And see, a lot of people are speculating, like I was, well, this episode is going to be some kind of battle between Rick's group and the people of Alexandria versus the wolves. And the wolves attack, and Morgan will show up. Well, those two things did happen, as I predicted. Morgan did return, and we found out who the wolves are and what their deal is. Well, not really as much what their deal is. They're just, ravaging, thieving, murdering, raping, crazy nutcase survivors who burn W's into their foreheads. Ouch. But, we only met two of them, and I think it's got to be a much, much bigger gang, a bigger, if not an entire army altogether. So that definitely happened. But, yeah, this season finale, I was not disappointed. I was very, very satisfied with how it turned out. It was a lot of fun to watch. I was just so surprised at how it did turn out, because I had made predictions, as you guys know from last week's video. I thought and said to myself, from all the hype we're getting, it sounds like they're going to kill quite a number of main characters in a huge, disgusting bloodbath, and that did not happen. True, we lost a couple characters, but they were minor ones that we had only started to even remotely care about, and their deaths were brutal and shocking, but, nothing that could, but they were nothing compared to, say, like a major character death. And so most of our characters are still alive, thankfully. They're still alive, and I don't think Rick or his people are going to be kicked out at any time, because now that poor Deanna has lost her husband, and not only her husband, but her son at first, and now the husband, I think she's going to be more open and willing to listen to Rick's people make a case about survival. And I think they're going to make some big time adjustments regarding the future of Alexandria. So guys, that is my review and reaction to the season finale of The Walking Dead Season 5. Overall, I really liked it. It was a lot of fun, some great zombie kills. My stomach was in knots the whole time because I was so on edge and nervous as to who was going to die or what could happen. And so I really enjoyed that because I'm like, So that was a lot of fun, but you know, I felt so much better and relieved when it was over. I'm like, whew, everybody's alive. Well, for the most part, but everybody, our main characters made it. Thank God Daryl and Carol are still alive. So, but yeah, overall though, this season, if I had to describe it, is the season that holds nothing back. No restraint. That's the best way I can describe it. Season 5 of The Walking Dead, no restraint. It's just one hit after another. One sucker punch after another. And I love it. I love the fact that they are not holding back at all. And because the show gets better with every season, I cannot wait for Season 6. I'm sure it's going to be just as awesome, if not better. And the Season 6 premiere, of course, will probably be one of the biggest episodes the series has ever done. Because, come on, let's face it, they're going to try to outdo themselves with the Season 5 premiere and try to make, you know, the Season 5 premiere look like nothing compared to the Season 6 premiere. So that's a lot of fun. Oh, and one more thought. I knew we were going to be getting a promo for the Walking Dead spin-off series, which is now officially titled Fear the Walking Dead, and of course that's already raised some controversy because people are saying, well, that's lame or that's lazy, like, ooh, that's original. Who gives a rat's ass what it's called? It's another zombie show. Just be happy about it. The point of it, you know, the whole reason to be excited is that it's another zombie show, and more importantly, it's a Walking Dead zombie show. So be happy about it. And we saw a promo for it, and I got very excited because I'm like, ooh, this is for Fear the Walking Dead. Awesome. So it was a nice little tease, and I'm looking forward to seeing the show, and obviously I will be doing recaps and reviews for that show as well. So Fear the Walking Dead, look for it this summer. I know I will be. I'm going to be looking forward to it. And now we're just left with a million burning questions about what's going to happen next on The Walking Dead in Season 6. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed The Walking Dead as much as I do. And as trailers, teasers, and more announcements and news come up, I will always try my best to put up videos as fast as I can regarding all the biggest announcements and newsworthy moments concerning The Walking Dead and everything else. And overall, I loved this season. This was an awesome season. In fact, if not the best season, you know, it was a hell of a season. So I really enjoyed it. So excellent work, Walking Dead cast and crew. You guys are awesome. Robert Kirkman, Gail Ann Hurd, Greg Nicotero, Scott M. Gimple. Thank you. Your writers are amazing, and the cast, of course, you guys do a phenomenal job. All of you, major, minor characters, whatever, humans and walkers, you are all amazing. So thank you so much for another astounding season, and I can't wait for October. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Please hit that subscribe